All right. What's good, people? Hope everybody's well. Welcome back to the Onyx Report, Black masculinist news for the day. Man, we are here on a Saturday, getting it in. So I'd like to say thank you, all of you that showed up already, nice and early. We got Corey in the house. We got Prince. What's up? Kennard, Adric, President 48th United States. I'm listening. What's going on? We got Mojo, John, Alex, Chef Mike in the house. What's good, Chef Mike? Salty Balls up in here. What's going on? Taylor Ja. Let's see. Got the Satconomist. Shout out from Amsterdam. That's what's up. Good to see you. Invictus, F Holiday, Leon, Royal Priest, Harvest, Amari. What's going on? CJ Jackson. Aquateki, what's up? AB, what's going on with you, man? Let me see. OX Hermes, we got Cameron in the house. What's good, Cameron? Grab Second Gear. Eden, what's up? Shout out to Chemistry IBMOR. All right, appreciate that. Says a member for 46 months. Appreciate that. Says sup, Dr. J. What's up? LaSalle, what's happening? Yeah, Nagus, what's going on? Brooklyn's finest, Layman's Journal in the house. What's up, Layman? Waiting on it, man. I'm trying to get Layman's Journal to deal with the Matrix, do a review of the series. So we'll see if we can get him to do it. But shout out to Layman's Journal. He's got a video. It's about to drop soon. So make sure you support the Layman's Journal channel. If you're not subscribed, you really need to be, because that brother's always on it. Shout out to Electrician 480. What's good? What's good? Appreciate that donation. Y'all know the deal. Red Sigma, what's happening? Like, share, subscribe, join, and donate. Support the channel. We can continue to bring you this independent black male thought. We're not going to have a lot of preliminaries today. We're going to get straight to it. So let me go ahead and bring in the good brother I know you all are waiting for. Shout out to BGS in the house. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, good people?
Yeah, man. See, when you put BGS on it, they show up early.
Yeah. They don't want to miss anything.
Yeah, man. Casual martial artist. What's up? Smooth Groove. Steven, what's happening? So, yeah, man. So I shouted out. I talked to BGS a few days ago. I said, man, some brothers had sent me some emails. I said, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like we're being called out. And apparently, Twitter went nuts and the black male political agenda went viral. But it's mainly because the Gynarchy got a hold of it.
Mm-hmm. It usually does.
Yeah. So I shot it to BGS. First thing he did is he started laughing. So, I just said, well, I got to get you on here to help me talk about this. But yeah, man, he started laughing straight out the gate.
Yeah.
And because I was trying to decide if I should be pissed or what.
No, the tar baby is spreading, man. You know, I told you about the tar baby.
Yeah.
Tar baby stick to everything. Okay.
Yeah, boy. It seems like it's starting to.
Oh yeah, they did it with Austin Hollerman and the Passport Bros, thinking they were actually going to tear it down, and they got a hold to the tar baby, and they said, wait a minute, how come I got tar on my shoe? I ain't mess with that tar baby. So you got tracks all over the house. Okay.
Oh man, shout out to Queen Kalila in there. What's up? We got Black Uru in the house. There we go.
Old Negro sighting. Okay.
He said old folks like BGS need to take naps in the daytime. So
I just woke up.
Oh shit. Yeah.
I just woke up.
I had to get one after this. I don't know what y'all do. Fry me some fish and get a nap in. But anyway, yeah, man. So I wanted to kind of show y'all some of what I was sent. And I'm glad because I don't really get on Twitter too much. It's not really my go-to. I'm more Facebook probably, but hold on. This went a few different directions. So apparently what somebody reached out to me. I think it was Mike Adams reached out to me on Twitter and said he wanted to share. I think it was him, but it might have been somebody else. But they shared the agenda on Twitter. It is, and people have shared it before. But it's a bit unpredictable when things will take off. So apparently it took off. And you can see this particular post here has about 107,000 views. Let me see if I can try and enlarge it a little. But this one has about 107,000. There's one that has more. But I'll see if I can find it. But this, you can see here, it says, this is somebody who says, y'all, the first thing on their list is about not having to pay for children they help create, an unserious group. Right? Yeah, it is Mike Adams. So Mike posted it. He says, Dr. Johnson, with the help of other Black men, has an excellent tool for speaking about agenda policies for Black American men. And that's what really spawned it. Maybe it'd be easier to go from there, but that's what spawned it all. So you can see it has over 218,000 views. Mm-hmm. And it went crazy from there. Now you had a chance to look at a little bit of this, but what did you get right out?
It's about what I thought. There's going to be the women are not going to like it,
right?
And it's going to be a controversy, and that what controversy spreads, and even men, when they at first glance won't like it,
right?
Because they haven't thought about it, and then after they let it percolate in their brains, they said, "Oh, well, wait a minute, there's a lot of good stuff here."
Most of the time, when I run across brothers, they can talk to you about Black community needs. They may be able to talk to you about, some generic needs. And if you ask specifically about Black men, most can't give you an answer. Some will say things like, well, employment is, we're concerned about employment. We're concerned about incarceration. You know what I mean? There'll be some basics put on the table, but very few of us have actually thought deeply about what our political needs are. And most of us don't want to grasp that they may differ from Black women. Can you talk a little bit about your thoughts about, the differences between Black men's and women's political interests?
Black women's political interests are always, normally it's centered on themselves. Okay. And, because if it's centered on the community, they normally default to the Black men. But especially since I say the 1940s, I think Black women, according to Pauli Murray, said we're in rebellion, in revolt. In other words, because that was the rise of what she called Jane Crow. Okay. When they mixed civil rights with feminism, which is all the mother of intersectional feminism was. That's really what it is, the mixture of the two. And so they started to see themselves as a separate political entity. In other words, the needs of the community didn't quite fit all their needs. So that's why nowadays really they're almost like a separate entity. If it's for Black women, you have to put their name on it.
But it's real quick. It's real slick how they do it though, because they keep one foot in the Black community camp and the other foot in the Black feminist camp. And from them, they almost kind of merge it together. So a lot of brothers, we see it and it's like, okay, and we don't really think much about it and we keep it moving. But we underestimated that.
In their opinion, what's good for them is good for the Black community.
Right.
Okay? Right. And so when it comes to child support, or when it comes to marriage, alimony, all the other kind of stuff that even come to the education of Black boys, right? They figure if Black girls get all the power, then it's good for the whole Black community.
Yeah.
That's what they believe.
Well, let's look a little bit at some of this. Now, shout out to Barry. He starts out by saying this needs to be the default position for every Black man in this country, from the barbershop to the boardroom. Shout out to Barry for that one. So we got Valerie pops in. We're supposed to just let you niggas lead. You see that?
Yeah. Let's see.
right out the gate.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Let you. Yeah.
lets you. Yeah.
Yes.
So you got so the response was, "Why not? Y'all have done such a wonderful job." This was the interesting thing. I saw as many times as I saw people starting to tear into it. I also started to see brothers coming out of nowhere, making
Yeah.
observations.
Yeah, because normally black women don't put it in your face like this.
Mm. Oh yeah, Twitter's good for that.
Mm-hmm.
I know I got to call it X. I always forget that mess. But anyway, so then they started talking about grape, right? Which is interesting. So y'all think grape is a part of leadership? Disgusting. At what point was anybody talking about that? There's no conversation going on about grape. Right? This started out as a response to Torin, who just posted up some concerns off his head. The question he was responding to is, what are some of the issues you'd address if you had a voice at the DNC? And he listed reparations, economic programs for black males, and entrepreneurs. Good. Torin's a friend of the channel. I like the brother. I like his work. A journalist that operates mostly on Twitter, so check him out. He also has a YouTube page, so support that if you haven't, but he's mostly on Twitter. Yeah. And then Mike responded to him with the agenda. So from there, we started to see gynocrats coming in.
Yeah.
So the first one the second one out the gate is throwing grape in the equation as if this is something we've lobbied.
It's a dog whistle for other feminists, other women to come jump in. That it's about male dominance and they always associate male dominance with grape.
Exactly.
If you got a banana, there's got to be a grape, right?
Right. And so then it goes. Now this is where I'm not so savvy with Twitter, because in some respects they're responding to other conversations happening on Twitter in different places. So I'm not always
in other words, when they share it or repost it, then it'll come from somebody's repost.
Right.
And then they'll come back and comment on the original post. So,
well, if you want to, if there's any one of these I need to click on, let me know, because I'm just going straight up and down.
No, we just reading random comments.
Yeah. So this one, why is it insane if a husband withholds finance? So they're talking about the part of the agenda where and this is where most of the complaints came from. There's like a 2-sentence section we put up in the agenda that suggests that in a marriage, if a woman withholds sex from a man,
right,
that's a form of abuse in a marriage in particular, and 2, there should be less restrictions on him being able to divorce without any serious punitive treatment. Yeah, you know what I mean. So we were talking about this because this is something men grapple with. Yeah. There are women that talk about sexlessness in marriage too. It's not solely a man's issue, but for men, it hits different. Right. So, so we talk about, this should be considered a form of abuse, and men should be able to divorce. This was interpreted on Twitter as some type of advocacy for marital grape. That's where they took it. Yeah. And that's where the statement above about, men, and we said nothing about that.
Yeah.
He needs to be able to divorce more easily.
And I think one of those threads that person was taught about SW, which is sex work, and women see marriage as sex work. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Instead of joining and making a family, I think marriage is sex work. So having sex with your husband is unpaid sex work.
That's how they view it. Yeah.
Just like cooking for your husband is unpaid domestic work.
Right. Which they see as tantamount to enslavement.
To enslavement. But you don't have the right to divorce them if you don't get those services.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they can divorce you just because they're not happy.
Yeah. Yeah. In other words, that's a form of financial abuse.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, and mind you, if you just Google it, there are people who've made the argument that withholding sex is, sex and affection, depending on which term you want to use. But I would say in a marriage, they're tied.
It used to be. It used to be in the contract. You used to be able to get a divorce for in the Islamic world. If she doesn't give you sex, you can divorce her.
Yeah. This is not a crazy position. There are men all over the world that have experienced this and have different responses to it.
Yeah, and in fact, it's legally codified in most of the world. If she doesn't give you sex, then you can get rid of her.
Yeah, but we're not arguing that the court should do something to her about providing sex. We're just suggesting that a man should be able to withdraw from his marriage with fewer punitive damage.
Yeah.
Right. So this is why you have this gentleman here. I think it's a gentleman, Cole. He says, why is it insane? If a husband withholds finances from his wife, she can claim financial abuse. If he withholds affection, time, or attention, she can claim neglect or irreconcilable differences or a lack of commitment.
Yeah.
Also, this bullet point is bi-directional. Okay. So you see some of the responses there, and if you see any you want to read out, just let me know.
No, just pick a few.
This document alone clearly demonstrates why education needs to be at the top of all of these lists. See this? So these are the kind of subtle digs that became more and more blatant as we go forward. I hope no one sees this, right? You say they're talking about the agenda itself. The weakest of links proving to always be the weakest of links. I am disgusted but not surprised. Right? Why men deserve to be put in cages, right?
Yeah.
Wow, something seriously off with y'all, right? This is insane, no? And this is where you see the post. So includes legally recognizing the withholding of sex as a form of sexual abuse in marriage. That said, such an acknowledgement might allow for less punitive access to annulments and divorce options. Also requires that all rape allegations require traditional standards of adequate evidence. Now, it was a trick. They got upset. Men were suggesting that evidence should be a part of the accusation framework in regard to rape.
Yeah.
They actually were upset that men argued for this.
Yeah. They because they've been taught what? Believe all women, right?
Believe all women.
Right? A woman's word is tantamount.
What did I read? What the F did I just read? So y'all realize family court is a state issue, correct? This is nuts. And if I'm Harris, I don't give y'all. I'm a black male, but I'd like to be disassociated from this BS an audience because this is so unserious. So it's unserious when men, because understand, we black men wrote this. I did not sit down and pen this. Black men contributed ideas based on their life experiences, but it's unserious, especially if it doesn't foreground women.
Yeah,
it's unserious.
It's unserious. Yeah,
so that somehow becomes the dominant read on it for some people. And then you got these kind of things here. Niggas, did y'all read this awful stuff? You want that to represent you as black men. So the shaming tactics.
Yeah, sign language. Yeah,
sign language. Have you lost your mind? And see, right there we go. So marital rape. Who even said anything about that? Right? You losers. At this point, I think anyone who intentionally breeds with a black man is an absolute dumbass who deserves everything he puts them through. Imagine risking your life for an entire year just for him to endorse this shit. You deserve it, babe. This is the kind of misandry we talk about. And it's more obvious or less obvious depending on the platform. But on Twitter, it's clearly made obvious. The contempt, misandry is deep.
And the same person probably be the one that hates passport bros, where black men are going overseas to get mates. Yeah.
Cooperative women that generally you don't really have to worry about this stuff with. You don't have this kind of contempt for men, right? And they wonder why men are leaving. That's interesting. This is coming from Black Texas Girl, or I guess family court make it easier for men who don't want to support their kids. Men should have the right to financially disassociate kids they don't want. Deadbeats already do. Legally recognize withholding sex as a form of sexual abuse in marriage. Handmaid's Tale BS.
Handmaid's Tale, yeah. They don't realize that the white women wrote Handmaid's Tale meant you to be the handmaid. They just substitute a white woman for you. That's all. You handmaid. Okay, when she can have a baby through my surrogate, which is you.
Which was you. And this is why so many of you degenerate mongrels shouldn't have been born. Hashtag stop birthing them. These males don't want kids, don't want to be partners or fathers. Every day, y'all prove Sinji right.
Exactly. We don't want to be concuserves. Anymore.
Yeah. So let me show another one. So I just pulled up a few random pages. And we can just see what they're talking about here. All right. So this one starts out saying you want Kamala to implement policies for black men and then say eliminate child support is just beyond nonsensical and stupid. Like, nigga, you are literally playing into the stereotypes that black men don't take care of their kids. Now that's interesting because at no point did we say anything about eliminating child support.
Right.
Nor did we say anything about not wanting to take care of our kids. Notice how they flip all of that. It's the same flip they do that. And I've had a close friend reach out to me. If you're critical of Kamala, you must be pro-Trump. It's like, no, you don't have to be pro-Trump to criticize Kamala or the Democratic Party. And most of the brothers who are critical have been critical of Democrats for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I explained to people my criticism of the Democrats, regardless of who's running, has to do with the fact that Black America extends our votes to them with no requirements.
Yeah.
And we've been doing it for years. That's why I'm critical.
I.e., white Black women.
Yeah, well, very much so, right? Mm-hmm. But we generally vote to the second highest degree, and in every election, Black men are somehow blamed, or we're blamed if the Democratic president doesn't win, or the presidential candidate doesn't win. Mm-hmm. And if they do win, Black women are raised up to be the reason they won. Right, so we're responsible for the loss. Black women are responsible for the win. And so now we have these kind of statements about Black men pushing for policy in their own interests. So the response, and mind you, at this point, they're still talking about family court reform. Now, mind you, they're nitpicking bits and pieces off of an extensive 18-point agenda, which leads me to believe they haven't read it anyway. They found something to fall into, and they're just trying to. And
they're probably responding to what somebody else kind of took out of it, and that's probably what they're responding to, instead of going back and reading the whole thing. But I even see with people that read the whole thing, they respond to things that trigger them.
Okay.
They don't really understand what they just read, but there's a sentence or two that triggered them, and that's what they go off about.
Yeah, regardless of whether or not that's anything we've said.
Yeah,
they'll run off on what somebody else said about what
we said. Yeah.
And that's how I know we're dealing with, immaturity. We're dealing with, not operating in good faith, as Kevin used to always say. These are not debate points. Shout out to Artisan. I see you in there, man. How you doing? But yeah, man, ghetto user, what's up? So anyway, looking at some of this, he says, stop busting a nut in women you don't see yourself having a future with, or literally just stay with the woman you're with and be an active parent. How me, a 22-year-old, understands this, but not grown-ass Black men.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's basically supposed to summate what we're arguing. Okay.
It's probably a guy that doesn't date or have sex either. So
I know it's popular on YouTube. Instead of debating the points, you slander, straw man, you just slander the person. And I just look at it like, what does any of that have to do?
That's what they've been taught. That's what they've been taught. They have certain talking points that they don't go beyond the talking points.
Right. Yeah. He said, let me lastly add that by saying you want to get rid of child support, when did we say we want to get rid of it? What are you talking about? We're going to go through the first point in the agenda ourselves. And since BGS contributed to it, I wanted to ask him to help us talk about it. Mm-hmm. But we'll see whether or not we called for the end of child support, which is what they seem to be arguing. But, this is not what we talked about.
Yeah, but because the white manosphere is pushing for the end of child support.
Oh, okay.
Because under feminism, feminism, right? Child support was supposed to be eliminated. Okay, you got the child that was supposed to be your reward. Okay, because you said the child belongs to you, then there's no compensation. Just like under patriarchy, right? Okay. The child's your responsibility, and the mother doesn't have any responsibility for the children. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, the children belong to him. He gets the kids, and the mother can go do whatever she wants to go do because she has no responsibility to the kids. But the thing is that this is the semi patriarchy that the feminists actually want. You have patriarchal responsibility to the kid, but the thing is, she still gets her freedom. So the kids belong to her or to the state, really. And she's assigned parental guardianship, but you still have to pay for it.
Shout out to Ian dropping information. It's good to see you, brother. Appreciate that. And I think Kalila dropped it earlier. Shout out to her. Wrench Turner had me dying over here talking about me and my traditional cooperative snow bunny are listening to the stream.
Oh Lord. Troublemaker.
Let me see. Okay, so the fact that you want to get rid of child support literally just shows that you don't care about Black children being provided. I think you've been provided for, but yet care about community. F out of here. One last piece, I promise. I want black men and women who are registered to vote to not engage any political discourse with niggas that aren't registered to vote. So now, not only do we not care about kids or community, but we're not registered to
That's
vote.
registered to vote, yeah.
This kind of slander is hilarious in a way. And there's a familiar name right there who drops a word.
Yeah, there's one dude who talked about child support and not dropping seed in chicks he's not serious about. I said, is this dude straight? He said, I'm a black man. I said, is this dude straight?
Oh, it says thinking that dad's not on child support, don't care their kids is exactly why Kamala breaks out the collard green stories for you instead of policy. You're idiots. Wow, this is wild, man. This is wild. And got the audacity to say their wealth is tied up due to child support. Now, if you have an unjust child support system, wealth, and this is one of the projects I've been considering writing about, whether the degree to which we had a serious wealth transfer
right
within the black community.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something even the white community can talk about, but the wealth transfer on gendered terms. Now, who talks about that? Where have you seen that discussed? The wealth transfer due to family court and probably several other institutions from the last 50 years.
I don't think I've ever heard that subject that it brought up that way.
Yeah. I was considering making that my next book.
But you can see that through some of the wealthier guys like Cam Newton and Nick Cannon and 50 Cent with the wealth transfer. Even not Tariq, but what's his name? The singer that got married. Tyrese. Yeah.
Well, and it would also explain their behavior, because I think with people like Cam and Nick, they figured out that having children and not getting married was cheaper.
It's cheaper, yeah.
You pay child support, and we know when we start talking about baby mama, baby daddy culture, sex is still on and off. It still happens organically. I can't tell you how many people I don't run across that have been divorced or never got married that are still having sex with their baby daddy, their baby mama, whatever. It is what it is. So you got celebrity men with multiple baby mamas. They have the kids that they wanted. They're not married to any of them, and more than likely can drop back in for sex whenever they want.
Yeah,
and it's cheaper. Yeah. So if we speak in terms of the institutions, the influence on communities, and the wealth transfer that they initiated, it might help you make sense of why some elite men can do this and why they would want to.
Elite men have always done this, so it's not something that just happened. In fact, somebody brought it up on Mr. Z's channels that you go back to Solomon. Solomon had 1,000 wives, right?
Yeah.
Elite men have always done this.
But see, policy incentivizes it. So if you're gonna lose half in a marriage, okay, well, I'll just pay for child support, and there you go. And the thing about it is, a lot of people, I noticed with the Nick Cannon and Cam Newton discussions recently, a lot of people started to frame black women as victims of elite men.
Yeah,
I'm laughing because even back, whether we're talking about NFL and in NBA, whether we're talking about singers, actors, you have women volunteering to be that, to play that role.
You just had I think it's Jasmine Brown that's dating Cam Newton. She said, "I'd rather be the fourth baby mama to a rich man rather than be a wife to the average man."
Right, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the breakdown from Love and Basketball, right? Where you had Omar Epps' character talking to his father, who played in the NBA. Supposedly, and his father said, "Look, man, every game you go to, they're lined up.
They're lined up,
and the boldest one is waiting in your hotel room." He said,
true.
After a while, it just becomes part of the game.
Part of the game, yeah.
So if that's how that treatment goes, how exactly do women all of a sudden lose agency when they're opting to be the baby mama to a rich man? And we're gonna act like that culture has changed?
Yeah.
It's actually gotten even more predatory, especially post Me Too, where if you can't get him to impregnate you, you might be able to get him by an accusation.
Yeah. Look at that. Somebody just posted all the young NBA players, right, with older baby mamas.
No, I did see that.
Yeah. So that's predatory, but nobody is speaking about that, how predatory that is.
That would be like if we looked at the U.S. gymnastics team and all of them were with men 20 years older than them.
Yeah.
How would America respond to that? 17, 18, no, 18, 19, 20-year-old girls
With 40-year-old men.
40-year-old men. How would America respond?
Yeah.
To the U.S. gymnastics team, the women's team?
Yeah.
It would be ridiculous.
Yeah, it would be.
But when it's NBA players,
Mhm.
oh well, it's not predatory. They just found love. Really?
That's what they chose. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Mike Johnston. I put it up a second ago, but he says it seems that black men have to continue to fight just to be heard. We have to keep fighting. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Ronan says no one says anything about a wealth transfer. Yeah.
No,
I want us to
nobody
start
does.
looking at policy, especially as it relates to these things that affect us. I want us to look at them in terms of wealth transfer. But especially in a relatively wealthless community, what does that do? Right? How does that impact us?
Yeah.
Anyway, so going back to Twitter, right? They're just loud and dumb, doing all these mental gymnastics, but won't pick up a condom. Wow.
Wow. Black men actually use the condom more than any other group of men. And black women actually use birth control the least of any other group of women.
Yeah. But before you had the pill, the statement wasn't that men didn't pick up a condom. The statement then was that women didn't keep their legs closed.
Yeah.
Even women, with older women especially, would say that to young women who found themselves pregnant at a young age. So it's interesting to see how the rhetoric has flipped.
Yeah.
Become about men not putting on a condom. So we got after that, I told them to get a vasectomy if you can't afford kids. Right? This has nothing to do with affording. I'm screaming. They want us to pay for their chaps. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what chaps refers to. This is also, I found on X, I figured out how old I was because a lot of the time, some of the terminology, I didn't know what it meant. And it's a weird feeling to have to ask somebody trying to insult you what exactly the terms they're using means. But it is what it is.
I think chaps is a British word for upscale dudes.
Right.
Where he's from.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So the women want to, in other words, Chad would be chaps in the UK.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right. See, that's why I didn't like it. I didn't know. Sometimes I don't know where people are coming from.
Where they come from, because it's global. Yeah.
Right. All right. So it says, why is child support limited to just financial payments? If the government is involved, why not provide an option where a parent can choose either to be actively present in their child's life or to support them financially, depending on their situation?
Okay. Yeah. Child support was to offload the price of raising a child from the state to the father.
Okay.
And it used to be the minimum what the state would pay out early on, like until the 1990s, and then it became then it became whatever the father, a certain percentage of what the other father's income is increased from there.
Okay.
So it used to be really limited, but women complained that they were in the poorhouse because they had to take care of these kids, and the child support wasn't enough, and they need state help, and state and shout out to Bill Clinton offloaded all that onto the male back.
Okay. This gentleman says the gig is this: man gets woman pregnant, woman applies for welfare, welfare asks who's the father, woman lies, says she doesn't know, taxpayers are then tasked with supporting man's kids. Many just don't get married but live together off the books because single mothers get more.
That's true.
Then you got two responses for that. This is the real tea. My daughter's father tried to get me to do this and I said no. Another person says welfare needs to be terminated or revamped to require paternal involvement. So we got people talking.
Yeah.
Right? What policy would you want either administration to implement that would help black men? That's what the whole agenda is for. So who the hell said that? I haven't seen one post say that. And if it was one person, how is that indicative of all black men? This is why black men left this disrespectful, goofy party.
That's very true.
Now, I don't know who exactly he's responding to when he says who the hell said that, but
yeah.
All right.
That's the problem with Twitter because you have to click on the thread to actually go back and find out what was said.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's all right. Let me see if I can do that real quick. Saying you want Kamala to implement policies for black men and then say eliminate child support. Yeah. So he's
Yeah.
saying, who the hell said that? I
Yeah.
haven't seen
Yeah.
one person say that. And if it was one person, how's that indicative of all black men? This is why black men left that disrespectful, goofy party.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because half the men who hold this opinion are degenerates who can't vote anyway. I'm tired of coddling some of the worst examples of black people in our communities because they end up being the loudest and dumbest ones and seen as representatives of us all. Right? And then that $250 a month kicking their ass. Is that what it is?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's a minimum, but that's probably what she's getting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Child support has nothing to do with taking care of children. It's a state-run debt collection agency that takes a large percentage of what's collected. The rest is allocated to the custodial parent. Draconian penalties for child support are what black men are highlighting. 45% of women on child support don't pay.
Yes, true. Yeah.
Damn. That's a cold number.
That's a cold number, yeah.
To shout that brother out. And this is what I'm talking about. You have these childish insults most throughout, and then you start to see these brothers popping up out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And one could argue they've probably never seen the agenda before,
Mm-hmm.
but now actually have something that
it
what they already believe.
Well, the thing is now what the tar baby does is bring about awareness. Where does tar come from? Where are all these black spots? And they have to trace it back to the tar baby.
Shout out to IBMOR, if I pronounced that right. Salute to Dr. T and Sensei. Dusty Intellectual High Table in session. Paying my tuition fees.
I heard that. Appreciate you, Chef. Appreciate you, IBMOR.
Yeah. Shout out to Compassionate and Callous. I see you in there, man. He said at least they read the agenda. Yeah, and I think the only people that read it were the brothers responding to all of that venom.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting blowback.
The thing is, the venom with the women actually believe this stuff, man. It's not something that they're just spouting off the top of their behinds, man. They actually believe this stuff.
Yeah. Shout out to Artisans, the state-run extortion racket.
Yep.
Nanashi says black men do not get coddled; they get neglected and at best misled.
No, they don't get coddled; they get raped in the family courts.
Yeah, and shamed if they don't like it.
And shame. There's a lot of brothers sleeping in cars, man, because of it.
Oh yeah. Let's see. You know how to avoid education and student loans because of debt, but you can't wear a condom to avoid child support. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Eliminate child support, so you want your kids to die. Nobody even said eliminate child support, but
Yeah, they put on. I always say, don't believe all women. She's not on the pill.
Oh, well, damn. This one says these black men don't. They're not paying it. They're not playing into a stereotype. They are the cause of the stereotype, and it sucks that black men like them go viral for things that set back y'all's reputation. Y'all should be as upset about how other black men make y'all look as y'all are about sexy red. I don't know who they talking to, BGS. I just dropped my son off at college last week, so I'm trying to figure out who they're talking about.
They're talking about the men that they believe that they deal with.
Oh, is that what it is?
Because we're all one big Negro, right?
I guess so. And the funny part is the brothers I know on here are handling their business. Shout out to Beastly Nerd. What's up? Appreciate that. I'm looking right at Artisan, man. Artisan is an excellent father, but that, of course, it has nothing to do with how they depict us in these conversations, right? And then, of course, I'm talking to an excellent father and grandfather, right, who educates his grandson every day. So I'm just like, this. It's interesting to see the contrast between the stereotype they're trying to create on Twitter versus the brothers that are actually making these contributions. It's an interesting contrast. Let me see, 50-50 standard custody. Yeah, right. Okay. Wanting child support changed, I can see, but totally eliminating it when there are men out there not even showing up for their kids is not it. That's not what we said. So what are you responding to? Let's see. I'm really glad that people are starting to recognize and call out the fuckery in these weirdos, non-existent logic, exposing their ignorance and hypocrisy. Okay. Let's see. Shout out to 2Triv for the Cash App. Appreciate that.
There's a lot of people that were actually indoctrinated and believe this.
Yeah. Most, and people that refuse to read, I can't do anything about. The agenda's right there. You don't have to buy a book and wait for it to get to you. It's right there. You can just click on it and read it and actually see if that's what was said. They're trying to say the child support system is predatory, especially in the case of Black men. There are plenty of men who are involved fathers and provide support regardless of it being court ordered, but have to deal with spiteful mothers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're starting to see, again, brothers coming forward. Removing child support, I'm having it provided as a social service is a net positive. Okay. Let's see, reading their policy suggestions on that thread really just told me that they want to be able to abandon their families and responsibilities without consequence. Very interesting. I guess I was supposed to say.
Exactly. Abandon their families. In other words, not let you be used as a concuserved and bent over backwards in family court.
Right. I don't know if I've ran into too many folks that have even ever said eliminate child support. I don't know if I've ever actually heard that before.
And you wrote it.
I mean, even in general, I've never heard that. So
no.
It's funny to see how they can first of all, they can deflect the entire agenda based on a tweet and misframe, mischaracterize the entire thing on a tweet, and then have people run with it. I'm like,
yeah.
Nobody said that.
If you criticize women, you hate them.
There you go. There you go. And the exact opposite has been statistically proven time and time again. I don't know what she's responding to, but
click on it.
All right, let's see. Okay, so this is back to the eliminate child support statement, right? From Draco, I guess. So I guess they're whatever. It's some bullshit. Glad y'all calling it out. If anything, I support mandatory paternity tests. I think they meant to say.
Okay, yeah, that's a hot topic button all over the world.
Oh yeah. If anything, I support mandatory paternity tests so the right man is paying for the kid and increasing education around what it takes to raise a child in schools, plus bring back free lunches. Now that's interesting, right? Because this person is saying they support mandatory paternity tests so the right man is paying for child support, which is what we said.
Yes, it's what we said. Yeah.
So you actually support what we said. So bring back shame. Okay. All right. Couldn't be me. Talking about child support takes away Black male wealth. Please. Embarrassing.
So where does the money to pay child support come from?
There you go.
Okay. Out of the ether. He just has it lying around and that's part of his wealth.
Yeah. Chris Rock once said, I shouldn't have to move back in with my mama because she's not happy. That would imply that that's a severe impact on his wealth. He's probably talking about divorce more so than child support, but the point being made is let's stop pretending that this doesn't have an impact. Let's stop pretending it doesn't, because it does. And it's not that child support in terms of having both parents contribute to the well-being of the child is something that we're rebelling against. It's how it's implemented, especially in regard to Black men. And if you doubt that, actually listen to Black men who've had to grapple with it. That's what people don't want to do. If you actually start listening to Black men, you have to deal with the realities, not the theory of child support. You have to deal with the reality of how it's implemented, especially when the court is incentivized to make men pay for something more so than they probably need to, so that the state doesn't have to, and the court can actually profit from that, or at least the judges in question. So that becomes an issue unto itself. It has little to do with the child's well-being. I've raised a child. Children do not have to be expensive. This crazy idea that children have to be crazy expensive. You
compensated a mother for the raising of the child.
Which is a different question than what does a child actually need.
Right.
So anyway, because I've said it before, with my son, I bought him clothes once a year.
Yeah.
And as far as food and clothing and shelter and all, food, shelter and all that, I was buying groceries anyway. It's just my grocery bill didn't go up because I had him.
Yeah. Until he got to a certain size. Yeah.
No, not really even then. He does. My point is simply that, when you talk about caring for a child, for the most part, this idea that it has to be some crazy expensive, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. But anyway, many people don't seem to comprehend that we can't be 14.4% of the U.S. population and 100% of any ailment or problem. It has been researched that Black men are the most active in their children's lives.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. In other words, all the stuff that we have been presenting, okay, is
Hmm.
actually starting to show up in the population. So
Okay. In, in casual conversation, huh?
casual conversation. Yep. Yeah.
Why do people care so much if someone doesn't take care of their child? Somebody says exactly. Child support shouldn't be eliminated or at least updated. Or should be. Okay, so child support should be eliminated or at least updated. Most of the policies and penalties are archaic, not to
Hmm.
mention the discriminatory practice of the judicial system targeting even the good fathers and good mothers because child support goes both ways.
Right. I think I think it was 50-50 custody, and women had to pay. That's when they would get off the bus with child support.
Yeah. And right now it tends to be well-established women
Hmm.
who are having to pay, but it's not a widespread experience yet.
Right. Right.
And if it became widespread, I think you'd see a radical shift in perspective on
And
child support.
that is the reason that revised the alimony laws in a lot of southern states is because women had to pay alimony,
Mm,
so they were on board to getting it adjusted or
yeah.
at least almost eliminated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the people that have a change in attitude when it finally hits them. But
Hmm.
if it doesn't hit them, we should be happy with it. We should be okay with it. It should be fine, or else we're not men. So it's an interesting kind of shift.
Ain't no fun when a rabbit gets his gun.
There you go.
Mm.
There you go. I love when they say it's giving. That shit makes me laugh. I gotta admit. This person said, it's giving. It's giving Trump. They don't care about this country or women and children. Just what's in it for me. That's interesting.
Hmm.
Anyway,
It's
how
giving
is
Trump
eliminating?
vibes.
What'd you say?
It's giving Trump vibes, huh?
It's giving Trump. How is eliminating financial support for children good for anyone? An empty barrel makes the most noise. I hate these clowns. So then you got people hating us because of something we didn't say. Interesting.
Mhm.
Exactly. You should want to give your kids all the support they need. There are no more excuses. If you can ejaculate, you can participate.
Yeah,
Wow.
so they haven't even read it. They're going off the Twitter feed right now.
Yeah. You can't with some of these dudes. They'll be saying anything that they are saying something.
Hmm.
Yeah. They will say anything thinking that they are saying something smart. Ask them who's on the down ballot and who's running in their own state and what their policies are, and they have nothing for you.
Yeah, and these people haven't even read. They haven't even read the agenda at this point. It's gotten so far into the thread that nobody reads the original post.
Which is an interesting, response to this person's statement. Right? They're arguing that the black man don't know who's on the down ballot, and I would argue most Americans probably don't know
Who's on the
who's on
down?
the down ballot. But you're responding by saying that black men don't know what's going on when you haven't even read the agenda for yourself.
Right.
That's interesting. Grown ass man talk, or maybe the nigga actually wants to take care of the kids and not just provide a check every month. You ever thought of that? Nope. Okay.
No, yep. 50-50 custody, which is actually in there.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm not super savvy with this, but I think we'll look at one more page and see what we can see. All right. So, let me see, is that the top? Okay, yeah. So that goes from here. Oh, where'd it go? All right, I guess that's the only one. Okay, so there are family court issues for local courts interpreting state laws passed by general assemblies, legalized by governors, all that of elections that you all are not voting in, not even the primaries. Okay. I don't know if you got that.
Yeah, they're saying that we're politically ignorant for the most part.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is we're talking over a couple 100,000 views at this point in terms of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gotten around.
It's hot. It's just getting started.
It's
been like a couple of days.
In a couple of days.
It's gone viral. Yeah.
So I think because the original post was August 20th. So been up for a little minute, and it seems to be making the rounds. Now, for the sake of argument, I thought it best that we actually go to the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And since BGS was one of the first to say we needed one of these things, or was the first, and asked me to go through with it, and contributed quite a few points on the agenda, I thought it best we actually talk about what it actually says.
Yeah.
So that, we can kind of have an understanding. Now, let's go ahead and put it all I guess that's the only way it opens up. Yeah, all right. Let's just do it that way. That's about as big as it gets, I guess. All right. So again, 18-point black male political agenda. Yeah, and we are let me get this straight. I want to do this because I'm going to forget if I don't say it right now. So we are about 31 subscribers away from 40,000. So just need about 31 subscribers. If you're listening to the channel and you've not subscribed, please make sure you do.
We got 400, almost 500 people watching. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit it, man. Give Doc a 2-week trial, okay?
Subscribe. Go ahead.
If you don't like the channel, take your subscription back, but give them a 2-week trial.
Well,
go ahead and hit it now.
YouTube is taking subscription back anyway. So
yeah, they do. Yeah, so if you wait around long enough, they will take it back. Okay.
So if you were subscribed, please make sure you're still subscribed.
Yeah. YouTube does go in and unsubscribe people. So,
and I'll be happy to update this to say 40,000 members of the Brotherhood of the Onyx Report. So please make sure you support it. Let's see here. We actually go to the agenda, and as usual, you can see starting at the top, right, that more information, watch the Onyx Report weekly on YouTube. Contributors are listed at the bottom. This list is still in development and is constantly evolving. It was last updated on August 4th of this year. So it is constantly being updated with new ideas that people are adding to it. So please don't stop sending in your suggestions. I don't care how many points this list needs to get to, as long as we have that compendium of policy ideas that will improve the quality of life for Black males. So all you got to do is at least send me 1 to 3 sentences and a couple of links that provide extra information to back your point, and we'll review it and go from there. So it doesn't need, you don't have to have a doctorate. You just, if you have a policy idea that you believe will improve the quality of life for Black males, that's all we're looking for, right? Anyway, so the streamlined list you can see there. We have, as you can see, all 18 points, and some of them have subpoints, right? Health has 4, intimate partner violence has 3, criminal law reform has 13, and then family court has 17 subpoints. So we're gonna walk through the first one today. And BGS, as I said, was kind enough to join me and talk about this, because this is the one we started it all off on.
Yeah, 50-50 custody, child custody. Yeah.
So family court reform, I'll just read the first sentence. The family court's treatment of Black men has unfairly and drastically diminished Black men and boys' quality of life by privileging women as primary caregivers. So I don't know if you want to read child custody point 1.
Okay. This includes automatic 50-50 child custody as long as fathers can prove what mothers are required to, as far as being able to provide a stable and safe living environment. Once determined, pre-existing income-based alimony child support judgments levied against Black men should be reassessed. Also, child support payments for either parent should be eliminated for 27 minutes with 50-50 custody, and should only be considered if there isn't a 50-50 custody arrangement.
I can barely hear your mic.
Okay.
Oh no, that's clear. That was real clear.
Okay. Oh, let me see, because it'd be playing with it. Okay.
Oh, you're clear now.
Should I read it again?
Probably just the last sentence.
Okay. Black men should pre-existing income-based alimony child support judgments levied against Black men should be reassessed. Also, child support payments for either parent should be eliminated with 50-50 custody, and should only be considered if there isn't a 50-50 custody arrangement.
Now, you tell me, is that an irrational request?
It's very rational, but the only thing that it does is it goes against the tender years doctrine, which says that the mothers are the preeminent guardian for children. So the thing is, it's a 200-year-old concept coming out of England, and needs to be looked at again. And if you're not going to have patriarchy where the fathers are considered guardians of children, the only guardians of children, should at least go back to 50-50 custody and give men a fair shot, not just Black men, but all men. but black men get the unfair lion's share of these laws or these policies. They're not really laws; they're policies.
Their policies.
Yeah, because there's no law that says women should be automatically considered guardian of the child.
Hmm.
It's a doctrine that's been passed down for 200 years.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we can just seesaw back and forth reading them. So I'll read the next one. The
Okay.
presumption of law that 50-50 custody is in the best interest of the child or children. Child support is only available where 50-50 custody has not been awarded. Right.
True. Yeah.
So, or at least it should be. I mean, but I think, and this is I can't remember. I think it's Judge Von Lee. What is her name? It's a sister who's a judge, and you see her all over YouTube.
Mhm.
Young, she's really young, and she's known for dropping child support judgments in family court that tend to lean. I won't say they lean in the interest of men; they lean in the interest of logic.
Yeah.
But she's one of the few that will award men when appropriate. And so you can find her all over YouTube. She's got a lot of shorts up there and whatnot. But that kind of thing where I've seen women who show up to her court and will assume that they're going to get child support simply because they've asked for it, they've requested it, and it should be a given. So when she doesn't give it, because what she does is she makes her judgment based on what the kids actually need.
Right.
And what's within the law as far as that. So she doesn't just award it because you asked for it. And many a woman will find themselves shocked that not only did they not get child support, they might actually have to pay child support.
Exactly, because I've seen a lot of cases where the man will have primary custody and still pay child support for the child.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dr. Smith. It's good to see you, good brother. I hope you and the family are well. But yeah, you'll see cases where she'll come in and in entitled fashion demand child support, and the judge will kind of be like, all right, well, who has the child most or the children? Well, he does. Well, how many days a week? 7, 6,
6, or 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So he's paying you child support? Yeah, but I want more. Well, why do you want more? Well, he got a raise at work. Really?
Yeah.
And by the end of the court case, she now has to pay child support to him, and she is livid.
She's livid, yeah.
But the reason I brought all of that up though is to point out the entitlement. She didn't really bring him to court because she needed child support. She brought it because she thought it was a right.
I remember that case, and she was married to a man.
She was married, but she thought it was a right simply because she was the mother.
Yeah, and most women that I talked to, including my former baby mama, thought that child support was her money, not the kids' money, but her money.
Shout out to Big Dog Productions. I think that probably is Judge Vonda B. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Look up Judge Vonda B, and you'll see how many entitled women are shocked when they're not just handed something they've demanded. But the question the judge asks is, what's in the best interest of the children?
Yeah.
And what's going on? And she gets down to who pays health insurance, who pays for soccer. Like, she gets into the weeds. But what you find is that when it's treated equitably, that it's not always a given that a woman is going to necessarily, be the primary one to win everything or get everything. It's based on what the kids need. Let's see. Split Jim says, Black women, we want equality. Black men, we want equal custody. Black women, hell no, N-word. Yeah.
Are you ninjas crazy? Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much what we see. All right. So, RB, mandatory paternity testing at birth, sir.
Okay. Before signing the birth certificate, newborns should be given a DNA test to ensure the father's parentage. Thus avoiding men being unjustly responsible for supporting children under false pretenses. This should be required before any issuance of child support judgments.
Now, let me say, I was talking to a good friend of mine. He might even be here in the comments or here listening to the show in the clouds. We were talking about it an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago. And he has 3 kids, and he's a couple of years older than me. We've been friends for years. And I said, let me ask you a question. I said, when you were, especially the first time your wife gave birth to your son, you were in the hospital room with your grandparents, your parents, with her grandparents, her parents, everybody's in the room welcoming this newborn child. Would you have the wherewithal to say, honey, I love you. This child is beautiful. I do want to get a DNA test though. I want to get a DNA test real quick before I sign the birth certificate.
Mm-hmm.
Would you have had the means to say that? You know, and he got quiet for a second. He was like, "Hell no." Your own, because your own mother would cuss you out.
Yeah, in that instance, yeah.
Yeah, and a black mother might cuss you out even after you find out that the child isn't yours, because the idea is you're supposed to stay and be a father simply because the child is there.
Because I love the child. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love my grandbaby, so take care of it anyway.
Now, you find out 10 years later that the child isn't yours, you're still going to be there. But what happens? And this is what I asked the brother. I said, what happens if you find out that the child is not yours within the first 2 days?
Yeah.
The first week that the child is born.
Yeah, we call him Lucy. You got some explaining to do.
Hey, and he actually made my point for me. He said, you're right. He said, what it means is that you at least have the choice.
Yes.
Now, if you want to stay and be a father to a child that's yours, that's your business.
Mm-hmm.
But it should be your choice.
Yeah.
Very few men would be able to walk away from a child that they may have raised for 5 to 10 years,
mm-hmm.
and then find out isn't theirs.
Yeah, it's called consent.
It's called consent,
which women believe in, right?
Oh yeah, when it benefits them. Shout out to W.
When it comes down to marital sex, it's called consent, right?
Absolutely. Or sex period. But
couldn't be me. But anyway.
Yeah. I know of cases where men are on child support while living under the same roof as their children.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, I know that. It's called ransom. You know, and I know a lot of guys that paid ransom for their children.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Me Too says, support the channel. Black men, at least give a like to the scholars. Thank you for the word and the work, THJ and MT. Appreciate that. Yeah. So this is what we're looking at. I don't think that any of that should be groundbreaking, but unfortunately in this reality it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
So addendum A to mandatory paternity testing at birth says, once determined that the father has been misled regarding the child's parentage, no matter how long it has been, he should be excused from both birth certificate and child support at his determination.
Right.
Now understand, to be excused from child support doesn't mean that a man still may not send it.
Right.
It just means in terms of the court.
He's not obligated. Yeah.
He's not obligated. And again, we're not talking about just any kids. So going back to Twitter, they were saying these men are trying to get out of, being responsible, not wearing condoms. No, we're talking here about a child that is not his, and he's been lied to about it. Right? So you're telling me that he shouldn't be excused? Because the trick to this is, if you sign the birth certificate, even if they find that the child is not yours, once you've signed, you're obligated.
Right.
The court sees you as being the primary person to pay child support if it comes to that.
You have been designated as the legal guardian of the child.
Yes. Which is why we're so specific in saying that the DNA test should happen as a requirement before.
Yeah.
The certificate is signed. Right. It says the exploited party should be subject to legally sanctioned reimbursement from the mother, biological father, and relevant city, state, federal government offices. Interest should be 7% compounded annually, in addition to the principal owed to the injured party. Furthermore, the presumption of fatherhood should be formally stricken as established law. Anything you want to say to that?
Yeah, I agree. It probably doesn't go far enough.
Yeah. And understand, we've had lawyers contribute to this agenda as well. We've had doctors, PhDs, we've had lawyers, we've had postmen, we've had truck drivers. This is a cross class.
It should be paternity fraud and should be prosecuted as any other fraud.
Yeah.
Paternity fraud is prosecuted as a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, not even a fine.
But if men could do it, we'd get time.
Yes.
But because it's something that generally only women can really do, it's a slap on the hand.
Slap on the hand. Yeah.
Let me see here. All right. So addendum B. I'll just go ahead and read this one. Men should have access to DNA prenatal paternity testing at birth, testing at divorce hearings, and testing at the family court.
Yeah, it should be automatic. Yeah,
it should be automatic. Right. I did have somebody write me once. It was a woman, and she said, the problem with what you're asking for is that, these corporations will have more of our DNA and might use it. And she was saying that was a reason why you shouldn't have paternity testing at birth.
A nice try, Cupcake.
Right. I was like that, see, because what you're arguing for is for men to stay exactly where they are.
Yeah, what they are, yeah.
And people are drastically underestimating how much DNA is changing the game.
Yeah, if she believes that, she should petition for elimination of child support altogether.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
But I doubt that'll happen either.
Oh yeah.
But I'm just saying, in terms of DNA, and we're seeing families upended on all kinds of levels, and it's not even based on people suspecting that their child is not theirs. You're seeing people who want to know about their family lineage. You're seeing, people. Sometimes people are being tested because somebody needs an organ in the family. You know what I mean? And so now we're finding that this is upending generations.
Yeah,
thousands of years of lies.
It was a white judge, found out through DNA testing that none of his kids were his.
Yeah,
as a white judge, a white family court judge at that.
After what? Is that the one where he was married for 50 years?
He was married for 50 years, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this is turning everything on its ear, and this is one of the reasons women do not want mandatory DNA testing, because they know. And this is one of those environmental shifts that changes women's behavior in the dating market as well. Just like the pill changed women's behavior, mandatory DNA testing changes the game.
Yeah. So this is the argument. Look, highlight TCW, because this is always the argument.
Okay, let me see. Okay, this one.
Yeah, paternity testing shouldn't be mandatory, but men should do it on their own and should be required before signing any documents. We just talked about that, right? How are you going to do that with family pressure?
Yeah.
Okay. If you take it out of the men's hands, then it takes away from the family pressure and the angst of you doing it. So it makes it automatic. It should be automatic. Okay.
Should be automatic. I mean, if you've ever gone into the hospital with your woman, she's birthed a child. If you ever looked at an itemized list of what you got to pay for, or if you have insurance, what insurance pays for, they itemize things.
Yeah.
And there are things on there that you wouldn't even think about that you're being charged for.
Yep. Yeah. Because when the baby's born, the fluids are already there. So it's real easy.
Yeah.
In fact, you can actually find out before the baby's even born. After about 3 months of gestation, you can find out the paternity of the child.
But the problem, though, is that men, especially black men, are already vilified in a lot of different areas, especially as it relates to family. If you leave the demand for men to do this on their own, there are all kinds of situations where that becomes problematic.
Right.
It can be all kinds of things. It could be a 16-year-old kid who got somebody pregnant, but he wants to do it. The families are involved.
Yeah.
Is that kid going to be able to turn around and look at his girl and say, I want a DNA test while his mother is standing over his head? There's so many different scenarios.
So much social pressure. We eliminate social pressure by making it automatic. Also, we put the girl on notice. It was automatic. Okay.
But that's what I mean when I say policy shifts behavior on a macro level. Imagine how women's behavior changes if they know that this is an automatic part of the process.
Automatic part of the process. Yep.
You can no longer say that the guy that happened to get you pregnant out of the 3 guys you had sex with is the one that makes the most money or has the most fame or notoriety. It might be the dude who was loading groceries at the store the other day.
Or you gonna have to test all 3 guys.
Yeah, but my point, but when she could just say who it was, often they would pick whomever they wanted to. They had free reign. And there's many a man who toiled away during his life paying for something that he shouldn't have had to, and there was no evidence he could use to outline whether what was true. So now we're in an era where we have access to that, and people are not handling it well. BGS.
No, they're not. It overturns what millennia of practice, right? Women have been doing this for a million years, claiming naming who the father is.
Yeah. Blue Exodus says, what percentage of black male vote could Trump get with these type of policies?
I would say at least half.
There's always been a difference between what people say publicly and what happens in the voting booth.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And there are papers written about this, especially with white folks, right? There have been historic elections, especially on the city level, where people of color, particularly black folks, are running for office, and white folks will be all kind of supportive until they get in the booth.
Mm-hmm.
I think for the sake of survival, a lot of black men might stay quiet. But if Trump said, I support this agenda,
Yeah, that's at least 50%.
and the cold part about it is, even though we're talking about black men, because these would be extremely beneficial to black men, you know how many other groups of men would support that?
No. Oh yeah. Oh, tons. Okay,
You know?
tons.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, people are already talking about how conservative and progressive are split along gender lines. This would be a dramatic shift to whichever party picked it up,
Yeah.
whether folks like it or not.
In the black male political agenda, there's a lot of crossover between
Yes.
black men and other men.
Yeah.
Lots of it. Yeah.
And a lot of crossover between progressive and conservative.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I've had Republican and Democratic politicians call me about the agenda or tell me that they're implementing one section of it or one policy in it in their given state. So
Mm-hmm.
Florida, Texas, Tennessee,
See. Yeah.
we've seen it in a number of states, and it may just be one thing, but we're just getting this rock, going. So
Mm-hmm.
is what it is. So C, reinstating at-fault divorce standards. Go ahead with
Okay.
that one.
In alignment with gynocentric family court policies, no-fault divorce negatively impacted black men by authorizing a massive shift in marital culture that dramatically underdeveloped them economically. That's where the wealth transfer actually comes in.
There we go.
Yeah.
Because no-fault divorce meant that you didn't have to have a reason.
Yep.
You didn't have to have a justification. You could
Yep.
just arbitrarily
pick up and leave with the kids and get the same thing you would in a normal fault divorce.
Yep.
Yep. Alimony, child support, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Get all cash and prizes, as they
Cash
say.
and prizes, as they says. Shout out to Rolla Tomasi.
Yeah. Afro Nerd says we need a black shaman comprised of public-private funding via our alleged black clergy, neighborhood policing with mental health professionals on the list.
We need that, but the thing is, this is law, okay? And this is policy. Policies shapes the environment that we're in, okay? A shaman, the clergy, they can help, but things eventually has to move its way up to policy, public policy, which is what this is.
Mm.
Public policy trumps all that.
Yeah. Shout out to Dr. Smith. He says genealogical associations knew about, I think he's talking about DNA, decades ago, but they are non-political and don't engage in these discussions. Genealogists have pages of notes that state that mama's baby, but
Yep.
daddy's baby.
Yep. But the thing is, they don't want to ruffle the wrinkles of society, the feathers of society by doing it, right? That's why it has to be policy. Yeah. And that's why men have to push for this, put this in policy.
If you've ever met somebody that's worked at a DNA clinic, it's kind of like meeting a cop. They've seen so much that their whole outlook changed.
Yeah. And a lot of these links that they put up about these studies, especially in the United States, they take down. Okay, the last one I saw that said black men, the black male paternity fraud rate in a DNA testing facility is like 41%. 41% for black men. And they took that bad boy down within a month.
Yep.
I said, damn, I should have screen capped that one because I said I wanted the link to be there so I could refer people to it, but the thing is they take it down so fast. The other one was they took down was when they actually did a survey of birth control, right? That said that black boys and black men use condoms and birth control more than other groups, and black women use it the least. They took that bad boy down too.
And that stuff disappears real quick.
It's
what the BGS has been yelling at me for years about Evernote, and sometimes I get lazy and I forget to save it in Evernote, and I have links going back over 15 years, and I will click on it and it is gone.
Yes,
nowhere to be found.
Nowhere to be found. Yeah.
D, termination of parental obligation. This one pissed a lot of people off too. Says, as we understand the law, it is a woman's right to choose whether or not she will carry a baby to term, put the child up for adoption, or abort it. Therefore, within the first 6 months of being informed about a pregnancy, men should have the right to financially disassociate themselves from it. This was formerly referred to as financial abortion, term renamed by Hood Conservative. The link to the show where he actually made that suggestion.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
go
Shout
ahead.
out to what's the comedian's name that said "F them kids"?
I'm not sure, but I've heard this point from Dave
Yeah,
Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle did say that. That's what I was talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, he made that statement. He said, if you got the right to kill it, I should have the right to abandon it. And if
abandon it.
I'm wrong, then maybe we're both wrong.
Right.
And I
Find
thought
that
that was
something.
brilliant.
Yeah,
I thought that was brilliant. But
what's
what
good
I'm
for the
saying
goose?
was good for the goose. And it's funny how people have all kinds of problem when it comes to choice, when men have a choice. But when men are subject to whatever choice a woman makes, everybody's good with that.
Yeah.
Because any man who's in here who's ever had sex and had a pregnancy scare,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't even have to have the full situation. You just need a pregnancy scare
Mm-hmm.
to realize how much power you don't have.
Yeah. She's in the driver's seat once you go proceed. Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
women say, well, you should be able to talk to him and you should be heard. Well, okay, that's all nice and well and good. But at the end of the day, she
Mama.
has determination on the
Mm-hmm.
next 18 years of his life. And
Yep.
instead of having empathy for the lack of options that men have, women say, well, you shouldn't have had sex. You should have worked. Well, those are the same excuses used before the pill when women got pregnant, and they just
Yeah.
said she should have kept her legs closed. But
And
it was
other,
okay.
you
You guys did the pill then.
yeah.
It was okay at that point because that gave you options.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They're trying to tell you you're a damn fool for getting a girl pregnant. Yeah. That's what they want to say.
Yeah. But as far as I'm saying, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. If you have options, regardless of what choice you make about the baby, he should have options.
Mm-hmm.
And those should be decided upon early.
Yeah.
So
it should be codified in the law where there's an automatic process.
right. I had some men tell me that they took issue with this, but they were still operating under the idea of their grandmother's generation. What it would have been like then. And I'm saying this is a different time.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, in some situations become predatory where you have women that are actively looking to have babies specifically for child support purposes.
I'd rather be a fourth baby mama to a rich man than
There you go.
a wife to an average man. Okay.
And rich is relative because if you're talking to people that live off of 20,000 or less per year and you make 80, guess what? You're Cam Newton as far as she's concerned.
Yeah. Yep.
And really, when you look at income in this country, it's accurate. If you're making 80,000 or above, to the majority of women in terms of earnings, you might as well be Cam Newton. I mean, obviously you're not a millionaire, but compared to what people make, 30 and 40,000, is the medium.
Oh yeah.
If you're making over 80, you are a lottery ticket.
Yes.
For some people, and I this trips me out because we only talk about this with celebrities. It doesn't have to be celebrities at all. Make $90,000 and date a woman who makes 20.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And see how you can just look at her life, and you can see how much your presence can change the game for her. And then ask the question: does she have any incentive? To want to be impregnated? That's not to say she's doing it. It's simply to say incentive-wise. We can see why people do what they do.
Miss KP Bailey is called meal ticket.
Put it straight. Yep.
Meal
trying
ticket.
to be diplomatic. She put it straight. You are a meal ticket.
A meal ticket.
And the first time I sat in a room with a woman where I was a meal ticket, I didn't know. But when I figured it out, I was like, holy shit. Okay.
Let's go some cold game. I said with a lawyer. Okay. And for I paid for it. She's a female lawyer, black female lawyer, right? She ran it down to me for about an hour, and I said, I shook her hand. I said, "Holy shit!" That was in 1990. I sat down with a lawyer, about this, and so when she ran it down to me, she said, "Basically, Negro, you have no rights."
Oh wow!
It's gotten better since then, but back then you had no rights.
Shout out to Afro National. He says, "Yep, hell, if you're productive with no debt and make 50,000, you're doing well. That's real.
That's real.
You can have no debt and date a woman making 100,000 with $200,000 in debt, but you have none. And you will often be treated like like something off her shoe. But you don't have any debt, so changes everything." Shout out to There I Said It. Says, "I honestly believe Mr. Chappelle watches male-centered spaces on the low." Yeah, I do too. I do too. He said a come up, a lick.
Oh, Dave Chappelle actually knew who Pearl was.
Oh, he
Pearl
did.
Davis was. Yeah, he did. So he
Okay.
watches these spaces.
Yeah. Okay, so there's another section to this. So after that, it says also we should automate financial abortion for cases of female stealthing. When a woman sabotages male contraception, and criminal charges should also be added. See article here. Yep. So we're not just talking about termination of parental obligation. We're also talking about a response to female stealthing. Now, the conversation on stealthing has been solely directed at men. The idea that a guy pulls the condom off and is just having sex, and you don't have to get her pregnant. It's just, the condom is off and you're having sex with her against her will, as far as without contraception, without condom and whatnot. But we don't talk about female stealthing, which in many instances involves a woman trying to get hold or access to sperm in one way, shape, or form by sabotaging male contraception or fishing it out of the trash. I mean, everybody remembers the Drake story with what was the hot sauce,
right? Oh, yeah, yes.
But at the end of the day, the point is that when it comes to stealthing, you may have concerns about pregnancy or STIs when it comes to women and issues with stealthing for men. It's the same. It's STIs, it's pregnancy, but it can put you on the hook for pregnancy against your will, even though you've clearly demonstrated that that's not something you want. Right? But nobody talks about female stealthing. So there you go. So you want to hit that one?
Okay. Child support value system. We advocate instituting a system where goods, services, and time spent with the child should be calculated and valued at a dollar amount. Any remaining deficit to be paid in cash. Also, child support should be capped at $2,500 per child, regardless of income, except in the cases of suggested practice addressed in the letter I below. Okay. Yeah, I think in North Carolina they did that because that's something that Brittany Renner had to came across when she tried to get her NBA basketball a bow for child support. They capped it at $2,500, and she was livid. Okay,
yeah,
she was livid.
But this is why I go back to having actually raised a child. I mean, I'm like, it's it's not anyway.
Yeah,
I think
regardless of income, this is a rich man's sub point. Okay,
right.
Should be capped.
And shout out to attorney Dennis Sperling for that one. So right to lifestyle, right? Post divorce, men should be entitled to the life they have been accustomed to in marriage. Thus, any judgment or consent determination must ensure that the husband can enjoy the same privileges and lifestyle enjoyed before or during the marriage, which costs more to maintain.
You don't get the house. You get, in other words, I get the house. You get the car. Okay. Go sleep in your car. Okay.
So right to lifestyle is hilarious when it comes to men, but women claim right to lifestyle regularly.
Especially white feminists. Yeah.
Yeah. If you were a waitress and he was a millionaire, women are talk about right to lifestyle all day.
The life I have become accustomed to.
Yeah. This is on you. Go ahead.
Okay. Require formal child support management reports. Ensure those child support payments are explicitly earmarked for approved child-related expenses only. Costs used on non-child related expenses must be accounted for by the custodial parent.
There we go.
From Xavier B.
Yeah.
You're here. Yeah.
This is not something that you generally would come up with unless you lived it.
Yes.
And this is why we asked brothers to give ideas based on their lived experiences. I can study the family court all day. It would not cross my mind some of these things, to come up with. But brothers who are living it, this is a cat that knows that his money didn't go to those children at all. When you visit your kids and they don't have clothes and they're hungry, they haven't eaten anything, but she got some brand new, ostrich purses, you're just like, okay. But is there anything holding her accountable to spend that money on the children?
No. In fact, I told you, my ex considered child support her money.
Yeah.
So when it was actually spent on the kid, then it was her money. Okay. Because I actually bought my son something, right? And so you spent my money on him? I said, "Oh, I didn't know it was like that." Okay, I'm
Mhm,
sorry. Okay,
mhm.
I thought it was child support. I thought it was his money, but I'm sorry. Okay, I
Yeah.
stand corrected.
One of the things that it does, though, if she has to generate management reports on
Hmm.
how it's being spent, you can quickly find out
Hmm.
if a child is really that expensive or not. If she
Right.
can't prove that she needs all of that,
Yeah.
she'll either need to increase what the child is into,
Hmm.
to match that, which in the end analysis could be good for the child in terms of
Hmm.
whatever other activities they can engage in,
Right.
or she has to, or that needs to be reduced. One of the two. Um, let's see. Um, okay, so let me go to the next one here. H, prohibit jailing for failure to pay child support. Such incarceration frequently punishes men for being poor more than anything else. This in turn increases black male unemployment and further hurts families' economic stability.
Right. Right. That's been a big thing. Even by social justice warriors, that's been a big thing. Okay, putting it doesn't help the child putting the man in prison for child support.
Right, right. And if he's legitimately too poor to pay it,
Right.
you can't get blood from a turnip in that respect. So
You,
throwing him
you,
in jail.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of there's programs that they're talking about, but where sending him to like trade school or something like that,
Okay.
and
Mhm.
and suspending his child support payments until he can actually get through trade school, where he can't actually earn enough money to actually pay child support, rather than
Yeah.
sending him to jail. It's better
Okay.
send him to school than to jail.
Okay. Let me see. So yeah, this one's yours.
Okay, income floor for child support. There should be a set minimum income for anyone on child support. If someone is chronically under this floor in terms of income, state governments should provide opportunities for them to intern at an apprenticeship in a trade. That's what Killer Mike was saying. Or only if they quit and refuse to work in an apprenticeship should they be incarcerated.
Now,
And the exact same thing in Atlanta.
well, but if you actually look up the person who made this suggestion on this agenda, I do believe it was one BGS IBMOR.
Okay. Okay.
But that said, you have to raise the question: did Killer Mike ever look at the agenda?
Uh, Yeah, maybe he was in spirit with this agenda. So but I'm sure he did. I'm sure he
Well,
did.
it can go either way. But
Yeah,
here's what I'm trying to get people to understand. Some
yeah,
people think that unless everything on the agenda is implemented all at once,
yeah,
then it doesn't matter. That's not what this is.
yeah.
This is a compendium of
Of ideas.
ideas
Hmm.
from Black men about policies that'll improve the quality of life for Black males,
Yeah,
regardless of age, class, occupation, geography, so on and so forth.
yeah.
That said, read through it. Even if you don't agree with everything, take what you agree with and
Hmm.
use it.
Right.
Advocate for it.
Advocate for it. Yep.
Push it out there and let people know. I think men in particular, who sometimes would be adamantly against what they think they don't like about it, will actually read through it and find something that applies to them.
Hmm.
Something
Yeah,
that,
yeah. It's something you actually bring to your lawmaker.
there you go.
Hmm.
There you go. So some people might run off with one or two ideas. Some people might support all 18. But the point is, where else have you found a compendium of ideas by Black men
Hmm.
to improve the quality of life for Black men that are
Our,
political in nature?
our project 2025 for Black men.
There we go. And
Hmm.
I've been saying this for the last month or so. I'm happy to be wrong about this, BGS. I'm
Hmm.
happy to be wrong. But this so far is the most comprehensive list of policy ideas for Black men that I've ever seen.
Yeah, it
And
is.
it's written by Black men. I've
Hmm.
never seen one else ever. I've
No,
never seen a Black male political agenda ever.
and people are stunned when they find it.
Yeah. Well, one, it's a ridiculous idea that it didn't exist till 2020. I mean,
Yeah,
that's absolutely ridiculous. But
right.
it goes to show you how Black men think politically. Black women think about themselves. We
Hmm.
don't. We think about ourselves in the context of community. But the problem with that is we underestimate how much our policy interests may diverge
Right.
from our own community, at least traditionally, how it's been laid out. So we need to start thinking about our policy interests, and we need to start demanding that political representatives who want our votes cater to them. Shout out to Kron. He says supporting the good work. When I hit that six figures, my manager at the time, an old white man, told me two things. One, never let family know your salary, especially
Fact.
your woman. And
Facts.
2, congrats, you make too much to get married now.
Shout out to Cam Newton. Okay.
You make too much to get married now.
Got too much to lose. Okay.
I love it. I love it. All right. So moving forward, so we got point J, child support and alimony assistance program, where it can be proven that a man's child support and alimony judgment requirements are causing a practical impact on his standard of living. State government and municipality shall pay the cost in whole or in part, but no less than 66% of the total cost of child support and alimony payments. Or the payments that should be adjusted to, his income.
Yeah, his support, yeah.
So there you go.
Okay, tax filing options. At income tax time, it is believed that some women sell their children's social security numbers to friends, facts, family members, etc., either when the mother is not working or has maxed out her 2-child benefit to receive income credits. Thus, whenever a third party submits tax returns claiming care of another person's child, any child support order to the mother of the stated child should be rendered void, or denial of the third party's claims on the child as a dependent. This should fall under saving tax dollars. The natural question should be, why is the mother being paid for a child under the care of a third party? Okay. Second, welfare benefits and incentives for women fuel the single mother phenomenon. So to eliminate welfare contingencies or to incentivize contingencies for fathers, we propose a cap on subsidizing single mothers and or subsidizing single fathers. Point 3, any child support paid should be considered earned income due to taxing it. True, I agree with that. Women can claim child support as extra earned income that improves their credit and ability to finance vehicles and other products and services. Men who pay child support are not allowed to claim payments made with their filing made when filing taxes, even when the amount can be a third to 50% of their earned income. Okay. Point 4.
Your mic is starting to go in and out.
Okay, hold on a second.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that was better.
Okay. Point 4, we advocate a policy that exempts child support payments from the applicant's gross income when they apply for public housing and or housing assistance. The payment is counted as income for the custodial parent and counted as gross income for the non-custodial parent. Their gross income dictates their acceptance into the program and their rent amount. Some men may not qualify due to their gross income being over the limit, but they may not actually bring that amount home due to child support payments. His rent may be exceptionally higher since his HUD states that 30% of gross income should go to rent. This leads to the plethora of issues for many brothers in the community, such as black male homelessness, joblessness, and propagation of children born out of wedlock. Okay, 5, amend Title 4D of the Social Security Administration Code, granting states matching funds up to 66% of what they recover from persons who have committed paternity fraud and collected child support in arrears and other state and federal benefits.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Now does that doesn't sound like somebody who read some theory about child support?
No, it's not. Somebody lived through it.
Lived through that shit.
Yeah. That always irks me that a woman can use child support to enhance her lifestyle and get credit and cars and other kind of stuff. But the thing is, a black man or a man cannot write it off on his taxes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And he should be.
Shout out to Jonathan. Says I'm 25, just bought the book, can't wait to read tomorrow. Cheers. Appreciate that.
Hey,
appreciate that. Afro National, shout out to him, member for 23 months. Says thank God for Doc, BGS, and brothers in this space. Much love, forever indebted for your advocacy and teachings. So hashtag support Black men media, support your scholars. That's right, appreciate it. And shout out to O'Shea.
O'Shea's
what's good? Says what's going on? I see we got 2 legends on. Good to see you, man.
Hey, what's up, O'Shea?
I was just dropping one of his latest videos critiquing was it Tariq Nasheed? He wasn't critiquing Tariq. He was critiquing Kamala.
But the thing is, he's starting to get that black pill Pan-Africans in his vibe, right?
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, he's doing
yeah,
some good work over there.
yeah. In other words, that blue pill Pan Africanist is starting to go away. Starting to get black pill on the thing, getting down to business.
His approach to politics here in the U.S. is critical, especially right now. So if you haven't, and I can't
Uh-huh.
imagine people are, if you haven't listened to O'Shea, go check out his channel. He's doing some stuff, and even the Kiganda channel, he's talking about politics. I
Mm-hmm.
hope I said that right, but
And politics in Africa since the Ukraine thing is huge right now.
mm,
Huge,
yeah.
especially in Uganda, especially in Kenya. Huge right now.
Let me see. Okay, got a lot of love in here for O'Shea. He said I'm out here simping. Shout out to Alan. He says it's always a wonderful and blessed day when you gentlemen get together. I wish Gigi was here as well. Thank you both for everything that you gentlemen do. Shout out to you, good brother.
I'm working on Gigi. I'm working on him.
Yeah, he's getting it together and he's doing well.
Yeah.
So, all right. So point L, revising the child support formula. Child support is treated as another form of alimony. Two things should be addressed by the family court nationally. 50-50 custody should eliminate child support, assuming expenses are jointly paid by both parents.
Here. Yeah.
Point 2, the formula that determines child support is predicated on an outdated model of women not working. Now that labor participation is fairly equalized in terms of gender, the notion used by some states of children requiring 25 to 50% of a parent's income should also be paid in equal measure by both parents, but reducing A, men's majority child support default status, where men are the secondary parent, needs to be reassessed. See the tender years doctrine.
Yep.
And B, 25 to 50% of child support for men required to pay it who do not have 50-50 custody should have their payments prorated to a percentage-based judgment against her usually ignored labor.
Mm-hmm.
Brothers are not playing. This is why this is being insulted, why they're trying to tear this down or ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
It's because brothers are not playing. They're outlining. See, if you pay attention to it, they're showing you how it's operated unfairly against men and giving a solution at the same time. This one's on you.
Okay. M, eliminate the suspension of driver's license and passports. No state should suspend someone's driver's license and passport for failure to pay child support. All states have statutes to suspend someone's license for failure to pay child support. Juxtapose this to 17 states that allow unauthorized immigrants to apply for driver's license. Suspending someone's driver's license, especially black men, prevents them from earning a living. Thus, in turn, makes life more difficult when many undocumented immigrants are able to get driver's license to pursue those very jobs. Black men may have lost due to such punitive practices.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Point N, child support as a trust fund. Family court should determine that a small percentage of child support should be required to be put into a trust for the child to be made available to them at age 18. This was a clip that I actually heard from Ed Lover.
Okay.
And so the link is there for that as well. So we pull in ideas from all kinds of places as long as they, look like they might be able to improve the quality of life for black males. So providing a trust that a child may be able to draw from at 18 can help with education, can help with the transition if they're moving out of their parents' house.
Yeah.
It can be of use. And it doesn't have to cost more. It just can be subtracted from child support that's already being paid.
Yeah. Yep.
There you go.
I said nullify family law's criminal court behavior. Criminal allegations are to be heard in criminal court. Domestic violence and child abuse cases listed as criminal in the criminal code, such as those alleged of these crimes, are to be afforded all procedural and substantive due to process protections associated with the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Family law courts are not the proper venue for mediation of criminal matters. It is customary in the family law setting for private attorneys to act as special prosecutors against private citizens and prosecute criminal allegations. This blatant perversion to the court of justice creates obvious impediments to fairness. Family law court is not a court of law. Very true. It is a court of equity, and there are some stark differences between the two. Essentially, a private attorney can prosecute you for criminal allegations of child abuse and or domestic violence in family court, robbing you of your rights to a speedy jury trial and a criminal attorney. Very true. Family court is really not in the realm of regular court. The laws there don't apply. So your constitution doesn't necessarily apply to family court because it's outside of the constitution. In fact, judges are the preeminent arbiter of your rights inside of family court.
Your mic is going in and out again.
Yeah. The judge has a lot of power, a lot of outsized power inside a family court that they wouldn't have in a criminal court.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of things like child abuse and all that kind of stuff, all those allegations would get thrown out in criminal court is allowed in family court. I think they was saying the same thing. As a fact, the judge said the same thing. According to the 10 years doctrine, okay, the court of tenures, okay, court of chancery, which is your family court, are outside the normal laws of criminal activity, okay, or the normal constitution. So your rights that you normally would have, or documents that you would have inside a regular court, don't apply inside a family court. If the judge kicks it out, nothing you can do about it.
So again, we're talking about brothers who are living through it.
Yeah,
we're talking about this,
trying to make them aware of it. You know, if you walk in a family court, it doesn't. The same rules don't apply.
Okay,
you gotta be aware of that.
Okay, we need 27 more people to subscribe. Oh, well, no, 25 more people to subscribe to the channel so we can get to our 40,000 mark. So please make sure you do so.
We have 500 people watching. You know, hit that subscribe button. You know, and give Doc 2 weeks. Okay, if you don't like him, take it back.
Yeah, because YouTube is going to anyway. Shout out point P in permanent alimony. Now, this is something we've seen Florida happen in Florida. And like I said, there are conservatives, there are progressives that have taken the different points on the agenda and pushed it. Now, I'm not going to argue that Florida, the governor in question saw this particular agenda. Many of these ideas have been floating around for years. But what you can find is if you implement some of these ideas, you'd be surprised the following you might have from different locations, different social groups, different demographics who may share that perspective. Now, this pissed off a lot of the elder women in Florida.
It did.
But let's see what it says. So permanent alimony should be eliminated to prevent ex-spouses from being forced to work long past the age they wanted to retire because they were paying alimony. Men, those most on the giving end for permanent alimony, should be able to seek modifications to alimony agreements when they want to retire. Also, judges should reduce or terminate alimony support or maintenance payments after considering a number of factors, such as, number 1, the age and health of the person who makes payments. Number 2, employment status. Number 3, familial status. And number 4, the customary retirement age of that person's occupation, or in that person's occupation. So there you go. Right? So those are, in terms of what we've just read off, those are
17 points,
17 subpoints for the first point on the 18-point black male political agenda, family court reform.
Quite extensive.
Yeah. So this is what we're looking at. Just that first point had people on Twitter livid, and the only way they could combat it is to mischaracterize it. Right? That men don't want to pay child support, men don't believe in supporting family, they had men are advocating for marital grape. These are the kinds of things they had to do to dismiss what men are actually saying, which is basically to make this more equitable. Make it more equitable. That's really what men are asking for. Nobody said anything about eliminating supporting a child. We just said it should be more equitable. And based on what's going on in the world today, women's involvement in the workforce, so on and so forth, these things should be made more equitable so that people can actually function and survive. Right?
Yeah.
So, So, any thoughts you want to kind of leave people with as far as family court reform? Anything else that comes to mind?
I think we should go back to the original family court, which is the Court of Tenures, the Act in 1660, and then the 10 years doctrine with the Court of Chancery in 1839, and then move our way up. Because the thing is, what we don't realize is that a Okay, children belong to the state. Okay? You get parental rights. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and parental rights have a large leeway. Okay, and who gets what?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have a right to petition to the courts about our rights as guardians.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be automatic that women are assigned guardianship of children. We
Mm-hmm.
need to protest that because it never said that. Best interest of the child is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Okay, 50-50 upon 50-50, especially since feminism, 50-50 is supposed to be the law of the land.
Mm.
Okay, so each party has a right to the kid. We
Mm-hmm.
haven't practiced that, so we need to start insisting upon that because women are using it as a weapon to actually, like I said, extract wealth from men. Okay, shout out to Cam Newton, shout out to Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And shout out to Tyrese and
Tyrese,
all the
yeah.
others who started. Now I won't say he's been the most stable, outspoken person at the time, but he's been genuine. I'll say that, and he's been very outspoken about things that other celebrities wouldn't talk about. But Tyrese has raised some issues over the years that I had to applaud him for raising because nobody else would at his level. Nobody else would. Shout out to Donnie. What's good? What's good with you, man?
Donnie Mac, what's up, man?
Just hopped on after my team won today. Now I get the rest of the games on mute. Continuing to support the Black Manosphere Political Action Committee. Appreciate that.
All right.
Yeah. So that's what we're looking at. So again, these things are being passed around. They're being mischaracterized. They're being slandered. We are being slandered. I am being slandered. But at the end of the day, when you actually take the time to read through it, you'll find that what brothers are asking for is not unreasonable. It's actually, very measured, and it's really more about making things equitable. But this is something I heard Judge Joe Brown once say. He said when he did the research, he found that Black men were the dominant demographic who paid child support to the greatest degree and were most consistent about doing so, more than any other racial group. This is coming from Judge Joe Brown. A couple of years ago, I was on a show with him, and he talked about that. He said most people don't know. Despite the deadbeat dad, stereotypes, it's Black men that are most responsible when it comes to child support. So this isn't a matter of men who are not paying it wanting to get out of it. Those are people who haven't bothered to even read this to make such arguments. It's more about men who are saying this has been unfairly leveraged against me in a way that's not about my kids' well-being. It's about fleecing me so that the state doesn't have to pay and the state can profit. That's really what this is. This first point is dealing more with. At BGS's suggestion, I'm going to be going through the different points on the black male agenda so that, in light of the upcoming election, we have some clarity. Not everybody likes to read, so I'm actually going to go through it, and you guys can either add some other ideas to it, which is always available to you. The agenda is a living document that is open and is still open for ideas if you have them. All I need from you is anywhere from 1 to 3 sentences at least, and a few links to back your point. If you have an idea on a policy that'll improve the quality of life for Black males, and we'll go through it from there. So shout out to TIQS. It says, this is the most thorough black male agenda I have ever read in my life. Salute to everyone who contributed to this agenda. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I've never even seen another agenda. So if this is not the oldest and the most in-depth, I'm happy to be wrong about it. But if it is, it bears reading, most particularly by Black men. And here's the thing. When other groups read it, Black women, white folks, whatever, whoever else reads it, what you'll often find is that Black men have political interests that have really never been articulated before. And regardless of who gets upset and frustrated at them, regardless of how that conversation turns out, that doesn't change the fact that these are Black men who wrote this because they have political needs and interests that don't align with everyone else. It is what it is. But I will guarantee you there are others who these ideas align with that we may just not be familiar with yet. Sometimes new ideas create strange bedfellows. What they say, pause. I don't mean that in any kind of strange way, but at the end of the day, when you put your ideas on the table, you have no idea who's going to support them and who isn't. And sometimes you'll find people that'll support them that'll surprise you. But at the end of the day, we got to put our ideas out there simply because they're ours and it's what we need. And our votes If you want our votes, you should be willing to do something that works in our interest. Haven't seen a group yet that doesn't work like that, except maybe Black America, where we're required to give votes with no policy. So these are the policies we advocate for. Right? I want to thank BGS for being willing to give up some of his Saturday to do this. So thank you, man.
Oh, appreciate you, Doc. That's why I'm here. And also, where you at as far as your subs?
Oh, let's see. We are 50. Oh, whoa. No, we are 5. We are 5 subs away from 40. Oh, I'm sorry. We're 5 subs away from 39,900. I did that all.
Oh, okay.
I'm still. Oh, my bad.
Okay. All right. Okay.
We're 105 away.
105 away. Okay. So we need 105 subs. Okay.
So we're close. We're at 39,895.
Okay. Click the subscribe button on your way out. Okay. If you haven't done it already, I know there's 500 people watching. I know most of you guys are probably already subscribed, but please, for the replay, hit the subscribe button and put the Doc over. He should be at 100,000. He shouldn't be at chasing 40. So, well, you know how shadow ban works.
Yeah, it does. Then you see, anyway, I won't even go there. But thanks a lot for the support. And thanks again to BGS for coming through. So I will holler at you, man.
All right.
And let you get to it.
All right.
Peace.
Peace, Doc.
All right, y'all. Appreciate you coming through. What's up, Clutch? I see you in there. It says dudes like Tyrese and Will Smith are literally in or near the top 5% of income in the world. What chance do I have? Real talk. Real talk. Seth's son says it's the only agenda I've seen for Black men. Me too. Like I said, I have no problem being wrong about it. It's the only one I've seen. TIQS says if Dr. J is receiving slander and hatred about it, then it must be a good agenda. Appreciate that. But that's where we are. So spread the word, spread the agenda if you can. Add to it if you think you have something to contribute, and let's get it. All right. So I appreciate y'all coming through. Let me see. Let's see. President 48th United States says the Black agenda for Black men is only real in this presidential election of Kamala Harris, Donald Trump. When Black men work together as one unit, like Jewish Chinese men, by yourselves with no outside help or resources. I think that was supposed to say. Yeah. Shout out to Inner Light Radio. Says it's inevitable that conscious heterosexual Black men will be at odds with the Matrix. Appreciate that. Y'all support the Inner Light Radio channel. Go to innerlightradio.com and listen in. It's a Black-owned online channel. It deserves some support, and it's owned by a brother who's definitely on it. So make sure you support Inner Light Radio. Right. Anyway, let's see. OG says when I get your book, I'm going to take a picture with it in hand. Much appreciated, man. Thank you for that. And shout out to Shay Sade. She and her husband are doing a review of my book on her Patreon. So if you're not part of Shay's Patreon, you can go ahead and check that out. And she and her husband are having a discussion as they review my book. So shout out to them for that. And shout out to you for all the support you guys have extended so far. We're going to continue with this and move down the line on this agenda so that we can clarify everything on it and make sure that people have an understanding of what it is. So when you run into slander, you know what to check them with. One of the things I showed you earlier, the biggest complaint against the Black male political agenda so far is that we're advocating for Black men to not pay child support, which is not what we've argued by any means. So we've just gone through all 17 subpoints, and that argument was never made. We were talking about equitability. We were not talking about a release from familial responsibility. That's the last thing Black men stand for. They just don't want to be abused and manipulated and exploited in line of taking care of family, whom they're usually already taking care of. Anyway, so that said, y'all have a good one. I will holler out to you later, and I hope everybody has a good one. All right, peace. I am here to tell you, brothers, we are not criminals by birth, perennial rapists, incapable intellects, man-children, sperm donors, child support wellsprings, success objects, walking phalluses, ATM machines, lottery tickets, unintelligent henchmen, valueless assassins, pro bono mercenaries, unpaid bodyguards, interchangeable stepfathers, child discipline proxies, unpaid repairmen, workhorses, emotional tampons, or any other socially accepted dehumanizing stereotype. We are thinkers, inventors, innovators, leaders, fathers, and men. Embrace your humanity, know your worth, and extend your time, attention, and resources only to those who genuinely respect you. And remember, your worth is not defined by meeting other people's narcissistic and selfish and unrealistic needs. You define your worth. Peace.